Implementation Strategy, it's called, March 2010. Financial Instructions 2004 and revised in 2016. Public Service Commission Regulations 2013. General Orders 2013. And the Code of Conduct for the Civil Service 2013.
Financial Regulations 2016, Code of Conduct for Civil Service, Revised Edition, September 2013, General Orders, Revised Edition, September 2013, Public Service Commission Regulations, Revised Edition, September 2013, Civil Service Training Policy and Implementation Strategy, 2010, March 2010, Financial Instructions 2004 in a bundle, admitted mark MS 39.
Mr. Chairman, could we add alphabets to the number A, B, C, D, and E?
Sorry, that? I didn't hear. A, B, C. You think that is necessary?
The first one was FI 2016,
Yeah.
Code of Conduct 2013.
So that will be that constitute Exhibit MS-39 shall be numbered as follows: Financial Regulations, Code of Conduct, General Orders, C, Public Service Commission Regulations, D, Civil Service Training Policy, E, Financial Instructions, F.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Jah.
Yes.
We will, of course, review these documents you have provided today and recall you, if necessary, in due course. Meanwhile, I would just like to ask you a few questions on the training policy in particular. The training policy that you have provided, does it cover training outside the civil service?
No.
It's limited to training in service training.
Within the civil service.
Do you have any guiding policy or practice regarding training outside of the service?
No.
So if someone were to apply to PMO that they wanted to be trained, they wanted a scholarship or to be trained in any particular, any person who's not within the service applies to you, what would be your reply, or what would be the process that you would apply?
Normally we write back to them and inform.
Sorry, please speak up.
We write to the applicant and inform the applicant that PMO does not provide scholarships or training to non-civil servants. And in most cases, we would refer them to Ministry of Higher Education.
Okay. Now, is there any exception for the office of the president in the training policy?
There should not be.
There is none.
No.
Okay. What is the policy on training people outside of the jurisdiction, outside of the Gambia, having regard to the existence of the University of the Gambia? Is there any policy about it?
Yes, if the policy, the training policy observed or realized that training outside the Gambia has been very expensive over the past years. And as part of one of the strategies is to reduce training overseas and to strengthen University of the Gambia and MDI as government training institutions.
It's just an observation.
It's in the policy document.
You said it observes. Is it merely an observation in the...
Through a study, it has been realized that government has been spending a lot of money on training overseas. And therefore, as part of the strategies recommended in the training policy is to reduce overseas training and focus more on training in country and in the sub-region.
Yes, but now that seems to be, as you said, merely observation or a guideline. But what is the policy? If a person applies,
yes,
let's say somebody at the Ministry of Justice says they want to read law in the United Kingdom.
yes,
We know there is a faculty of law at the University of the Gambia.
yes,
So if they applied to the PMO and said they wanted to read law in the United Kingdom,
okay,
or somebody in the Ministry of Health applies that they want to do a nursing degree
okay,
in United States, what is the policy on it? Is there a specific policy?
Okay, what we do is we looked at the availability of the course in country. If the course is not available in country, the application may be considered. But where it is available in country, we refer you to the relevant institutions in the country.
Is this discretionary or part of your policy?
It's part of the policy.
It's part of the policy.
Yeah.
That you will only train in areas that are not outside the jurisdiction, in areas that are not available in the country.
The policy is trying to discourage overseas training. So where it is available in country, we train you in country.
This is specific.
Yes.
All right. Is there any exception for the office of the president?
There should not be.
In terms of open scholarships are scholarships generally that are open to civil servants or people outside. Do you deal with open scholarships?
No.
Who's responsible for open scholarships?
Ministry of Higher Education.
What about bilateral scholarships?
Okay, Ministry of Higher Education, some of their scholarships, they are funded through bilateral cooperations. So let's say a country like Morocco decides to give Gambia scholarships. So it will be channeled through the Ministry of Higher Education. Then normally the country that is funding or providing the training will provide the criteria, the selection criteria, which the Ministry of Higher Education will now advertise, and interested Gambians will apply. Then the selection will be carried out by the Ministry of Higher Education based on the selection criteria provided by the funding or donor agency.
Does the PMO play any role in this process?
Yes, PMO is part of that training committee.
The training committee at the Ministry of Higher Education?
Yes.
That looks at bilateral scholarships?
Yes.
Okay. What is your role as PMO? in that committee?
As a member.
Yeah, do you have a specific role, since you are not responsible for training people outside of the civil servant, as you told us? Do you have any specific role on the committee? Why are you a member?
No. Some of the, because some of those trainings, it is not only non-civil servants who apply. Even civil servants do apply.
All right.
And where they apply, PMO participate in the selection process, and also if they apply, then they will need to apply for, if they are successful, they will need to apply for study leave.
All right. Now, if people within the service are trained, let's say by the Ministry of Higher Education, or they are given scholarships by the Office of the President, do you keep track of them?
With the ones that we offer study leave salary, we track we bond them, and during the bonding, we looked at their progress in terms of when they should complete their program. So where they are supposed to return and they did not return, then we will take action.
So
but with the case of Office of the President, most of the time these scholarships, they are awarded to officers or individuals who are not non-civil servants, or where they award these scholarships, PMO will not be in the picture, they will just copy letters to PMO.
Yes, you have said that before, but what I would like to know, if the Office of the President awards scholarships to serving officers,
yes,
do you track them, or do you only track them if you've given them scholarships with salary?
We only track them when we provide scholarship with study leave with salary.
Study leave with salary?
Yes.
Can they leave without study leave?
Pardon?
Can civil servants who've been offered scholarships, can they go off without study leave?
Yes, so sometimes it do happen. And right, when we carry out, let's say, our normal staff audits or monitoring, we discover those ones, then we take action.
What sort of action?
One, stopping the salary. Then the next move is...
Sorry, the first move is what?
Pardon?
What did you say first? What action do you take?
To stop the salary immediately.
To stop the salary?
Yes.
I see. Did you keep any record of all serving officers who may have been given, or who have been given scholarships by the Office of the President, and who may not have been channeled through you, whose application may not have been channeled through your office?
Okay, normally they copy these letters to PMO, and we don't have a database for them, but we have them in the files. So in addition, even to the list that I provided earlier, I went through the list and I have a supplementary list that I want to submit.
A supplementary list of?
Scholarships awarded by the Office of the President.
To whom?
To civil servants and non-civil servants.
We would be interested for you to classify that into civil servants, since that's within your remit.
Pardon?
Can you classify it further? Between, you'd just be interested in those who are civil servants from your office. Do you understand?
Sorry, can you please repeat that?
You said you have a list of those who have been given scholarships, civil servants and non-civil servants.
Yes.
Yes. Can you give us those who are civil servants?
Okay, in this list...
Did you mix them, or do you have two different categories?
This is a list with 12 names.
No. Let's understand each other. Did you mix the numbers up?
It is mixed.
It's mixed?
Yes, it is not classified.
Yes.
But looking at the MDA or contact address, MDA stands for Ministry, Department, or Agency, I will be able to determine whether the recipient of the award is a civil servant or not.
So what we would like you to do is to categorize them into civil servants and non-civil servants, right? From
Okay.
that you know, because you have told us that your office is only responsible for civil servants.
Yes.
So we expect that you would track all civil servants who have been given scholarships from public funds, because it's quite clear that the civil servants who were given scholarships from the Office of the President were being paid for from public funds.
Okay.
So we would like you to give us a list of all civil servants who were given scholarships from public funds.
Okay, I have in this extract, I have a column called completion date stroke remarks. And in that remarks column, I indicated whether they are back or not.
Yeah, since you have mixed them up,
Yes.
I suggest you separate them. That would be more useful to the
Okay.
commission. Separate them and then you send them in.
Okay.
Do you know the number of civil servants who were trained?
Here I have 12.
Only 12?
Yes.
From 1994 to 2017, only 12 civil servants?
Okay.
In addition to the 18?
Earlier I submitted 18.
Sorry? Yes,
I
you
said
submitted
earlier I
18.
submitted 18.
Yes, but 18 and 12 is 30.
Yes, the 30. But one thing I said earlier during my first appearance here is that the number PMO will provide will not be an indicative of the total number of scholarships awarded by the Office of the President. I think I made that clear.
You know, Mr. Jha, that is not good enough for us. This is a government. And
Yes.
if people are being trained from departments, PMO should be aware of it. So what we would like you to do is to really investigate people who have been trained and who were in the service. You understand? You have made it clear that people outside the service is not the problem of the PMO.
Yes.
But people within the service who were trained really should be the responsibilities of PMO. So we would like you to really take a little bit of time and look into your files and come up with a list, because we need to know whether they are back. It's one, you understand,
Yes,
and where
I
they
do.
are.
Yes, I do.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, I don't have any more questions for Mr. Jha.
Very well, you may leave. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to recall Mr. Usman Jobate, Deputy Managing Director, GPA, witness number 22.
Mr. Jawade, we just reminding you that you're still on the oath.
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Mr. Jobate, when you were here the last time,
Yes,
you were required to produce more documentation regarding youth development enterprises, YDE.
yes, ma'am.
Have you been able to locate the documents to support your claim that YDE did not pay port charges?
So far, ma'am, the only document we can lay hands on is the copy of the minutes of the Board of Directors meeting, giving debt provisioning approval. But the shipping documents and the bill of lading or manifest dating 2002 cannot be traced in our file records. And I've also tried checking with some of the shipping companies that were involved in Gambia shipping agencies. But I was made to understand that they don't keep records that far back.
So Mr. Jobate, what do you want the Commission to do? You have to locate these documents.
Yes, ma'am, we're still doing our search.
Who was operating YDE? Do you know?
Youth Development Enterprise.
Yes.
They were operating from the Office of the President.
Who was responsible for it at the Office of the President?
There were a gentleman called Baba Job used to come to report at the time to facilitate the clearance of the cargo. So we believe that he was involved in the operations of the company.
Do you know where Mr. Baba Job is?
I learned that he is deceased.
Apart from him, was there anyone else who was handling the YDE matters?
Yes, not that I can recollect, but we are doing our search to make sure we trace.
Okay. Yes, you were saying?
Yes, ma'am. We have in our records at our registry that a file was opened for YDE during the year 2004 when there was a legal issue involving the state against Youth Development Enterprise. And our company was involved in the matter, and all the documents pertaining to YDE transactions at the port were opened in a file, and according to our office records, they are made to believe that they were submitted at the time to the investigators in the legal suit.
Do you remember who the parties to the legal suit were?
It was the government of the Gambia against YDE.
I see. All right. We still expect that you'll come back to us on YDE.
Yes,
Do you have any other matters?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Let's go into them. Relating to directives from the Office of the President, of course.
Yes, ma'am. In May 2007, directives were issued to the Gambia Ports Authority to make certain payments for Miss Black USA pageant 2007.
Miss Black USA pageant.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What were you supposed to pay for?
According to the directives, the amount needed from the ports was 305,280 United States dollars.
I see. For what purpose?
For payment of air tickets to visiting delegation.
What was the date of the directive?
It was dated 8th of May 2007.
And who wrote it?
It was signed Dr. Njogu Elba for Secretary General.
I see. Did you pay this amount?
Yes, ma'am, the amount was paid.
Was it supposed to be a grant?
In the letter, it is saying that it is His Excellency's commitment to refund the funds when he is due back to the Gambia a few days' time.
Could you read, is it a long letter? Could you read it out?
Yes, ma'am. Republic of the Gambia, Office of the President, State House, Banjul. Very confidential. OP 45001, Part 1V, NLB, dated 8 May 2007. Dear Sir, Miss Black, USA Pageant, 2007. Pursuant to our discussions this afternoon, Jiba/Bar, pertaining to the above subject matter, I hereby write to convey our formal request on behalf of His Excellency the President of the Republic to solicit your urgent intervention on assisting in the provision of the funds required to airlift the pageant contestants and officials from the United States of America to the Gambia on the 23rd of May 2007. The amount needed to bring everybody here, a total of 162 people, at US dollars 1,884,045 each.
1 million?
1,884.45 cents each will be 305,280 United States dollars and 90 cents. The travel agency working with the ticket reservations has indicated that we have until tomorrow, Wednesday, 9th May 2007, to make the required payments for the seats to be reserved. If we fail, chances are the prices will skyrocket. It is His Excellency's commitment to refund the funds when he is due back to the Gambia in a few days' time. Thank you for your urgent and favorable response. Sincerely yours, Dr. Njogu Elba, for Secretary General.
Did you pay?
Yes, ma'am, the amounts were paid.
To where?
It was paid to the account of the information that was supplied to the GPA to remit payment to the agency.
What was this account? Who was the beneficiary? Who was the beneficiary of the payment? Do you have it? The account?
Yes, ma'am, it was submitted.
Oh, is the paper you gave me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you don't have a copy? All right. You want to use my copy?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And make another copy for me. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It's a copy of transactions.
Where was the money paid?
It was a bank transfer paid to Intra-World Exchange Corporation. And the account address is 8730 Georgia Avenue, Suite B110, Silver Spring, MD 20910.
All right, thank you. Let me have the document back so that we can have it admitted. Mr. Chairman, I'm applying to have admitted the letter or the directive, executive directive as they call it, for the payment of $305,280 for the Miss Black USA Pageant 2007 and supporting documents.
letter from Office of the President dated 8th May 2007 to the Managing Director, Gambia Ports Authority. Miss Black USA Pageant 2007 and related documents admitted marked SC9.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there any other directive you would like to bring to the attention of the Commission for the application of GPA resources?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell us about it.
There was a directive from the Office of the President dated 26 January 2011 urging the Ports Authority to cede land within these premises on behalf of the proprietor of International Milling Corporation.
Can you repeat the date, please?
26 January 2011.
To cede land?
Yes, to cede land belonging to the Ports Authority to the proprietor of International Milling Corporation.
Do you have the letter?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the date of the letter?
The letter is dated 26 January 2011.
Who signed it?
It was signed Ibrahim O. Kamara for Secretary General.
Is it a long letter? Can you read it to us?
The Republic of the Gambia, Office of the President, State House, Banjul, OP 246-461-01, Part 1V, EOC, 26 January 2011, extremely urgent. Managing Director, Gambia Ports Authority, Banjul. Urgent directives for finalization of the issue of land extension, 1,500 square meter, for the flour mill project. I hereby write to convey executive directives that GPA accedes to the land extension of about 1,500 square meter for the silos in support of the flour mill project. It is our understanding that the proprietor of the said project, International Milling Corporation, is offering compensation that both sides should discuss independent of this directive for the extension. Grateful for your kind attention and action. Sincerely yours, Ibrahim O. Kamara, for Secretary General.
Okay. Were any steps taken by your corporation, your the Gambia Ports Authority?
Yes, ma'am. We did cede the land to International Milling Corporation.
What documents do you have? You seem to have brought a file. Can you extract that directive from the file?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please do. And any other documents that are relevant to this matter?
Yes, ma'am.
You can follow up with the Secretariat to provide you copies to put back in your file.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Okay. We complied with the executive directive and ceded the land to International Milling Corporation, but also calculated the value of the land that was ceded and asked for compensation.
By ceding, was there an assignment? How was it done?
It was just by letter to the International Milling Corporation.
Okay. So you wrote a letter to them?
Yes, ma'am.
And physically handed over the land?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they build the silos on
Yes.
the land?
Yes, ma'am. They built the silos.
Okay. What are they using the silos for?
It's for storage of grain used in the production of wheat.
Okay. The directive did say that compensation should be worked out with the corporation.
Yes, ma'am.
International Milling Corporation.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you work out a compensation for
Yes,
the
ma'am.
land?
We did work out.
How much did you come to some agreement?
Yes, we valued the land and requested for compensation to the International Milling Corporation.
How much?
18 million 464,850 dollars.
Have they paid?
They have never paid, ma'am.
Why?
We wrote several letters requesting for the payment, but the letters were not responded.
They were not responded to.
No,
Who did you write?
To the Managing Director, International Milling Corporation.
Who are these International Milling Corporation people?
Their letters were signed for by the proprietor, Mohammed Bazi.
Okay. No reply.
No reply, ma'am.
Why have you not taken them to court?
I cannot answer that question.
Who was in charge at the time as Managing Director?
It started in 2011 when Mr. ML Jiba was there. Then later on in 2012,
Mr. Modlamin Jiba,
Mr. Modlamin Jiba.
who gave evidence in this commission.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And
then?
In 2012, we had Abdullah Tambedu as Managing Director. Then in 2013, Mr. Jiba, ML Jiba came again as Managing Director. And he left in 2014, December.
When was the last letter of demand to the Africa Milling Corporation?
The last
International,
letter,
is it the International? You call it
International
the
Milling Corporation.
Yes.
There were a series of letters, the letters being on the 17th of May 2013.
2013.
2013.
That's how many years ago? 4 years ago.
4 years ago, ma'am.
Now, what I would like you to do is to read out the folio numbers of the pages you want to have admitted in the commission so that they can be extracted.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, so we will take note of the numbers that you want, so we will extract them from your file.
Okay.
Or is that whole file about about this land?
Yes, the whole file is about our engagements with International Milling Corporation.
The whole file?
The whole file, ma'am.
Okay, we'll take the file.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything you want to tell us regarding this issue before I take in the file?
Well, apart from the several letters we wrote requesting for compensation, they were not responded to, because the several letters we wrote to Milling Corporation involve other issues as well, relating to construction of the facility on the site. In those letters, always there is a reminder about the compensation, but that issue was never responded.
Well, probably because you didn't take the proper legal steps. Was there anything stopping you, the GPA, from taking the proper legal action for the sum of 18,400,000 owed?
I cannot answer that question.
You cannot answer that? Or you don't want to answer that question?
No, I want to answer, definitely. But
you are the Deputy Managing Director of GPA.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's a very responsible position.
Yes, ma'am.
Was the matter taken to the board?
No, the matter was not taken to the board.
Was the board aware of the directive?
According to the records, the board was not aware of the directive.
So at the level of management, you had a directive to give land to a private investor.
Yes.
The GPA went ahead and gave the land without taking the matter to the board.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And no transfer was made. No assignment. The land was not formally transferred. It was just given by letter.
Yes, it was just given by letter, because at some stage in the engagement, the International Milling Corporation is on record that they were too much in a haste to realize the project, to the extent that some of the assignments that we were required to do in terms of conducting an environmental impact assessment to determine the siting of this facility close to the port and the residential areas in the Hafdai area, and also the request for the land allocation through the Ministry of Local Government and Lands, were superseded by the pressure on the ports on record that we should hand over immediately.
Where was the pressure coming from?
Directive from Office of the President.
They said you should hand over immediately.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any such directive?
They are all in this file, ma'am.
Yes, refer us to one of them.
Hello, technician, please. Can you help with the radio people? I think the sound is too loud here. Volume.
These people at the back, they're playing.
There's one here dated on the 26th of November, addressed to the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Defense, Office of the President, State House, Banjul.
26 November in which year?
2010. 2010.
2010.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What does it say?
It says, I draw your kind attention to the previous missive, OP 246-461-01 Part 1V 147 MSY, dated 8 November 2010, copy of which I hereby attach for ease of reference. I am directed to convey to you that the Old Navy site should be handed over as a matter of urgency to International Milling Corporation to enable the corporation to commence demolition as well as the necessary civil works for the purpose of establishing a flour mill in the Gambia. By a copy of this letter, addresses are hereby kindly informed. I trust that you will give this matter the urgency that it deserves.
Signed by who?
Signed, Malang Jatta for Secretary General.
I see. So when did you hand over? Do you remember? If it's in the file, it's fine. But
It's in the file.
It's in the file, you handed
ma'am.
over. So basically, is that area an industrial zone? Do you know? You know we have no physical planning zones areas. Is that area an industrial zone?
The position of the GPA then was that the flour mill has some environmental concerns which need to be addressed because it's close to an operational zone and also within a residential area.
So, but my question is, do you know whether that is an industrial zone? You know, we know, for instance, that Canifing has an industrial area where, you know, you can apply to set up a factory. But as far as you know, do you know whether that area is an industrial zone under the Physical Planning and Development Control Act?
No, it's a port area.
It's a port area,
It's
yes.
a port area. It's not an industrial zone.
Okay. So no environmental impact assessment was carried out?
No, they were just ignored at the time because the directive was to urgently hand over. So,
was the Department of Environment or the Environment, were they involved at all?
yes, we wrote to them and they responded, and the process was in motion for them to conduct an EIA.
Being an environmental assessment?
Impact assessment,
Impact
yes.
assessment.
Yes, for the siting of the silos at the facility.
But it was never done?
It was never done.
I see. Do they pay you rent? If they have not paid you compensation, have they paid you rent for the land?
No, they have not paid rent for the land.
Have you assessed them for rent?
No, what the assessment we did at the time was to compensate for the value of the land.
Yes, but pending the paying you value, since it's your land, you haven't done any assignment of the land to them. Did you consider charging them rent?
No, we did not consider charging them rent.
I see. All right. Can we have the file?
Yes.
What is the file number for the record? And when was it opened?
The file is GPA stroke CONF stroke 324 stroke volume 1. Date opened 14/2/11. 14th February 2011.
Now, let me just ask you a question. Apart from Mr. Muhammad Bazi, did you deal with anyone else?
Yes, other letters were signed for by a gentleman called Manhal Kwedat.
I see. All right. Thank you very much. Can we have the file?
All right, Councillor. At this point, we will rise until 11:30.